episode of Inspired Voices. My name is Riera, and this is Jesse Padilla.
Hey, how y'all doing today?
Appreciate you being on the show, man.
Thank you, brother, for having me. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Why don't you tell everybody what you do?
My name is Jesse Padilla. I'm a 15-year entrepreneur now. I run my own business. I've had a barbershop for 15 years. It was called Bar-Ber-Shop, but we recently merged with another friend of mine, another company called the Bar-Ber-Shop. So it's working on new things now.
Yeah. Last time you were here was 7 years ago.
Yeah.
I actually went to your shop.
Yep.
And we recorded it. That was actually the first time doing it like on location like that.
Okay. It was pretty cool.
I was like a little bit nervous on that.
Yeah, the lighting wasn't as good for sure.
Barbershop for 15 years.
Yep.
When did you start?
I've been cutting hair about 20 years, so like maybe 04.
So you weren't cutting hair before that?
No, never before that.
Gotcha. Okay.
So just kind of jumped into it out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I don't know how I landed there. I didn't know how to cut hair at all. But I just went to barber school, tried something new, and became good at it, man.
But like, why?
I have no idea. I was just searching for a new career. You know, at that time in my life, I got fired from the town of Cary and just kind of lost. Jumped into a career path that I had no clue what it had to offer, but it seemed like something I would like to do. And I'm just
what about it though? Like, is it like the conversations you get to have?
I got into barbering just because I thought it was good money at the time. You know, it looked like when you're sitting on the bench, you can see the players and it looks like they're making a lot of money. It wasn't like that at all though. It was actually much bigger journey than I expected. But it all worked out. Just kind of a testament of if you you can master anything and become good at it. You know?
Yeah.
And I'm definitely a living testament to that because I couldn't cut hair at all when I went to barber school.
Oh, really? Damn. Yeah. So you went from
So it's been a journey. It's been a complete 20-year journey.
Well, that's gotta be a little nerve-wracking too. Like when you can't cut hair to when you can cut hair, like that transition right there.
Absolutely, because you're gonna jack a few heads up, and you know, the business is all about skill. You know, at that point, so it definitely was a journey. Definitely a lot of nervousness, a few messed up haircuts. I didn't mess up too many, thank God. But
that was good.
But I did mess up a few, and it's just kind of how you learn in this industry. You know.
Was it like to the point where they like, you know?
I never seen them. I never seen them again. The few I jacked up, I never seen them again, man.
Gotcha. I think it's like working with your hands too. You're like creating something with your hands almost.
Absolutely.
Right?
There's definitely some art to it, but it's an art you have to kind of learn. It's not like drawing art, you know, per se. So it was something I had to learn, especially the fades and so on, the styles and stuff like that. Yeah. It is some art to it, but a little more skill than art, I would imagine. You know?
Now they got those clippers that create the fade for you.
Man, they got all kind of stuff now since I came out. Yeah.
What do you think about those things?
I'm old school. I still use the old school techniques. I don't know. They're making all kind of stuff to sell nowadays.
I was curious about that. You know, your thoughts on that, because like, you know,
I'm bald, so I haven't tried it. So I still use the old techniques. So
right, yeah. It's kind of like with me being a photographer and videographer. Like people were like, "Oh, just use your phone." I was like, "No, but my camera's so much better." It's like, "No, it's the same quality." I was like, "No, it's not."
Yeah, it's not. I know it's not. Definitely not. I just seen they're about to make, I think, the first movie called 28 Days or something. It's shot all through an iPhone or something.
Yeah. But the thing is that people don't realize is that they're also using professional lights for everything else.
That's
it's
true.
Just the
Very true. Very true.
You said you jacked up a few heads like when you first started, but like when did you start getting into the groove?
Now, honestly, if I look back at time, it probably took me about 3 years to really master a fade, or at least understand it better. And it's after school, so you're talking about a year and a half of school. Yeah. And this coming from complete ground zero where I didn't understand anything.
Right.
It took me about 3 years after school where I actually started seeing a little more repetitive clientele. I started noticing my skills getting a little better. But for me personally, it did take me about 3 years. It was a tough journey those 3 years too, because I thought about quitting, that I make the right decision.
Yeah.
You know, and luckily I just hung in there. By my 4th or 5th year, I ended up acquiring Right Cut Barbershop. So just hanging in there, man, and
that's interesting.
Being persistent. You know, don't quit. I didn't quit on myself. Although I did want to give up several times. I wasn't making the income that I needed to survive. But glory of God, man, it all worked out, man.
Right. You know? I mean, that's interesting to hear, because like, you went into it, you know, thinking that the money part of it, right?
Absolutely.
But like once people realize how hard some things are, they quit.
And this is before social media era, so imagine like if I was thinking there was money in it back then, imagine what these younger up and coming barbers are seeing today. Like they think there's millions in this.
Yeah.
And there's good money in it, but you know, it takes time. The people that we're all seeing, from photography to barbering, these are like 1%, you know, people that actually made it. And the actual people that are in these industries are people like us, you know, that are grinding on the grind every day.
Right.
The 1% is not that easy to achieve. It's possible, but I feel like a lot of this generation is focused on being that 1% and skipping over the foundation of how to be a better photographer, how to be a better barber. You know, they want to be here, and they skip all these steps to get there. So back then, I can only imagine what they're seeing today. If I was seeing that back then.
Right.
They're completely influenced every day by these things, you know.
I guess it depends on, not depends, but I guess it's like, it's all about the patience, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
And like, obviously you hung in there.
Definitely.
But how did you acquire Right Cut Barbershop?
Man, I went there to work actually. I had quit my third barbershop at the time. It just wasn't working out. I kind of wanted a little more. So I made the jump from one shop to another, and I went to Right Cut. When I got there, man, I was kind of disappointed because the shop, it was kind of dirty. It just wasn't updated. It had like box TVs in the corners with antennas still, VHS, you know, things like that. This has got to be '09 or maybe 2010 or something. And
Gotcha.
And when I got there, I got a word. The word was going around the owner was trying to sell it. So I kind of jumped in and see how much he wanted. He wanted a very cheap amount. I just came up with the money and made it happen.
I mean, dude, that's a big deal. Right?
It was very scary at the time.
You got overhead too.
Yeah, definitely. I went from, you know, paying a little bit of booth rent to having employees and managers, and rent within maybe like a month.
Did you have any kind of like business experience on that?
Zero, just like fading. Zero experience in that too. And that's been a whole nother journey outside of barbering, you know, management. But yeah, no experience doing that either, man. This was all crash course. And I quit high school as well. Got my GED, and a trade. So, you know, again, just a living testament that anybody could make it, you know.
When you first started getting into barbershop, what was your family think?
My mom's a PhD chemist, man. She definitely didn't see no potential in it, but she supported me 100%. Okay. But at that time, you know, barbering wasn't taken as serious as it is today. It wasn't quite a profession. It was more like a hustle. I mean, I think today we view it more as a profession. It's more respected today due to social media and the influence it has. You know? But when I jumped in, it was absolutely like you're basically a drug dealer selling haircuts. You know, that's kind of how people looked at it.
So you think like you got like some people like, you know, just like, really?
Yeah, I'm sure some
like
people doubted
you
it. Yeah, I'm sure.
Gotcha.
I'm sure. I mean, I doubted myself. You know,
right.
I had my own doubts.
Yeah. How do you get through that, man?
Man, I don't know, man. I think sometimes we just got to keep pushing forward, you know, and just keep fighting for what you believe. And I think anything's possible, you know, if you do have that desire. Yeah. And I did have that desire, especially early in my beginnings, to kind of prove people wrong, prove myself wrong, to get myself out of that hole that I kind of dug myself in at a young age, you know.
Right.
So I was determined to make this work.
What kind of stuff were you digging out?
Man, you know, just from dropping out of school, jumping job to job, not really searching for a career. I was just searching for jobs. And barbering was the first time I actually focused on a career, a profession. So it was things like that, just trying to get out of my old ways, my old young habits, to my mid-20s, actually early 30s is when I got into it, trying to grow out of that 20-year-old stage, you know. Right. Made a lot of mistakes at that age, you know, spending money like I was rich, just no financial discipline and so on and so forth.
I feel like the patience is a big key of
that. It's definitely a big key, and I'm noticing as I get older, I'm actually losing more of that.
Oh, really?
It's like reinventing how to regain my patience again.
Interesting. Yeah. Why do you think that is? Is it because of knowledge you have already?
A little bit of, it's a combination of things. One, burnout. I've been doing something for 20 years. Behind one chair, you know, it's a little bit of burnout. Yeah. I'm absolutely feeling that. Yeah, management also has been a journey. Some handle it better than others. I've kind of allowed the emotion to get to me within management over the past 15 years. You know, it's been a lot of emotion, a lot of battling with people, and
that's a big
ideas,
thing,
ego, things like that. So that was a tough battle there, and I'm a little burnt out behind all of that. You know, so it's a combination of things.
Gotcha. Like burnout, especially, like that's because you're hustling. You're just working and working and working.
Yeah, just
and doing
like
the same thing.
never stops.
Almost,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, now that you're older in the game, what do you think about being burnout and like what you suggest to like younger cats?
What I would suggest, therapy, first of all. Biggest thing I've probably changed lately is probably the past 3 years I've been searching more therapy. And probably the past 6-7 months have been the most consistent therapy I've done. I finally found like the right therapist for me.
Right.
But the biggest thing, I should have caught that earlier when I started feeling the burnout. I guess I just didn't recognize it at the time.
I mean, it's hard for entrepreneurs too, because like, you know, you might have a lot of clients now, but not a lot of clients later, so you always want to kind of get that.
Definitely. I mean, I've always had the edge as far as my clientele. I'm very professional. I'm on time, so I've always had the edge with keeping my clientele rotation pretty realistic, and I make decent money doing it. I'm very social, as you know. I was out meeting people all the time, so I've been able to keep that going. But the employee side has been very up and down of running a barbershop. You know, things have changed a lot since COVID too, man. People don't really want to work anymore. Everybody wants to be at home, working remote. So just a lot of things have changed.
I mean, that's a hard topic, man.
It is. It was a rough time for sure.
Especially like when COVID happened, it's like people started thinking
differently.
life.
Yeah. And that non-essential mess made everybody think, even me, because we were non-essential employees at the time.
Yeah.
We were put out for 2 months, you know.
Right.
So it made me think what else I could do, you know. So I get it, but it's just been a journey trying to grow a business with, you know, every person you hire eventually wants to be on their own. Those are the type of entrepreneurs we're dealing with, you know, and that's tough.
Yeah, that's
tough.
I mean,
but I've survived, you know, 15 years there. The shop itself been there since '91. So, you know, it has a lot of potential, and it's just tough.
I mean, you find it like, I know people want to do their own thing eventually, right? So they move on. But have you come to peace with that?
I have and I haven't. I have in the sense that I no longer am trying to control the things around me, but I have it in the sense that I've always dreamed of having, you know, multiple businesses, et cetera. And I've kind of come to the realization that that's kind of not my dream anymore. You know, so I'm kind of searching for other things to do within the boundary of barbering and entrepreneurship.
What kind of made you think that?
Just time. I've put a lot of time into this place, and I don't feel like I've gotten to where I'd like to be. So now I'm at the point where it's like, what else can I do? You know, what else? Who am I gonna be? I'm 46 this year, so who else am I? So kind of searching for all these new answers that, you know, I think everybody's gonna face in the 30s and the 40s. Every 10 years, I feel like we always face those answers, you know?
Yeah.
So at 46, I'm kind of reinventing myself to, so in my 50s, I'm in a better place, you know?
Gotcha. Yeah. Thinking more long
But
term.
like, you know, I've learned in time, like you have to plant the seed early to get what you sow later, you know? So I'm thinking very hard on what's my next move now.
Right. Yeah. Have you gotten some answers?
Yeah, I got
a
few answers. Got a few answers. I'm actually going back to school. That's one of the biggest things I'm probably gonna do. Just kind of, it's a completely different career field, but something more remote, you know, and so on and so forth. So, just like I said, just trying to grow and within the boundary of myself, within the business. I doubt I'm gonna let barbering go ever. You know, I do love what I do. I do love talking to people. I love making people feel good. I love being part of the community. But I also want to retire. My arms hurt, you know, my knees hurt, so I'm getting too old. I don't know how much longer I can keep cutting hair at that rate. I'm doing about 60 to 80 clients a week right now.
Damn. Yeah.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
Barbers are, once you get one, you know, you don't want to let it go.
Yeah, it's a lot. So I'm definitely kind of burning myself out, even just cutting hair alone. You know?
Is it all like repeats, or you get some new clients?
I get some new clients here and there, but typically all repeat.
Gotcha.
That's where the money's at. You know, the paychecks are in the repeat clientele.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, damn, dude, have you always been this, like, I guess, determined? You got some...
Oh, no. I was lost, man, from when I was young all the way to maybe 28, 29.
Yeah.
Where I finally kind of snapped out of my teenage mentality and snapped into more of a professional one.
Was there like a certain thing that kind of like snapped you out of it?
When I got fired for smoking weed at the town of Cary, that kind of changed everything. It made me realize immature, and I had a good job that I could have retired at. But I'm glad everything does happen for a reason, and I'm glad it happened looking back. But at the time, it was one of those moments where I was like, all right, I got to stop.
Right. Right.
So yeah, no,
it's like a fork in the road, right?
Yeah, I was a knucklehead, man, for sure. 100%. I didn't listen to anybody. I just,
Yeah.
And that kind of has carried on in my life, where you kind of have this inability to listen to people at times because I was that way when I was young. So I've been fighting that person since 28 years old, since I decided to change. Right. It's like that person it never leaves. You just got to learn how to control it better and
interesting.
Listen a little better,
Gotcha.
But I still have that knucklehead in me at times.
I've been hoping like it would leave,
Nah, that's something we're going to forever face, man. Damn. Forever.
All right.
Forever.
But you mentioned that therapy was a big part.
Big part of...
Why did you get into therapy in the first place?
Well, I think the biggest part was the transition of realizing that my old ways are no longer working. That's what led me to therapy in the first place.
Like in life or in work?
Yeah, just I kind of self-destructed. Maybe the last right when COVID started, probably till about 2 years after. I just realized, looking back at that era, I kind of self-destructed my own business, myself, my relationships around me.
Yeah.
So it kind of led me to that point of therapy. Like, I need some therapy to figure out what's going on with me.
Is that? I felt like it seems from what you just said is like maybe that was like the only option you could find that could help.
I don't know if it was the only option, but it was the one thing I figured would help me at that time. Go speak to somebody, get a different perspective. And I tried a few therapists. Some I just didn't like. The questioning, the format of how they do things. But the guy I found recently is more like a mentor versus a therapist. He kind of asks you the right questions to bring out the right answers out of your own mouth, out of your own brain. So he's not even giving me the information. I already have it.
Gotcha.
He's just able to pull that out of me, and it makes you kind of realize, you already know these things,
Yeah.
So it's been super helpful, super calm past 2 years, for me.
Right. So you mentioned the calmness, right? So that's the one thing that you've noticed, but what are some other things that you've noticed?
Oh man, my relationship is better. I'm engaged now, recently engaged.
Nice.
We've been together 2.5 years. Yeah, I know I seen yours recently. Congrats on that too. So my relationships are better, man.
Yeah.
I have less friends.
Less friends?
Yep. I don't seek attention and validation like I once used to. I was out, as you know, I was out every night at the clubs, just chasing that attention and validation.
Yeah.
So I don't have that issue anymore. I'm in the house more. I focus more on work, focus more on my self-growth, and just trying to have a healthy partner, be the healthy partner that she needs, etc.
Yeah. Was it, so obviously she was there before you did therapy too?
She kind of came in right at that transition where she just met me at the perfect time. Had she met me a few months prior to that, she probably
I was about to say.
But she met me right when I finally hit that stage, like, all right, it's time to let the old me go and move forward into this new direction. I cut all my friends out, stopped partying and all that,
Yeah. I feel like when you get into a relationship is when you really find out like the little details of your behaviors.
No, that's definitely true. With both of us, because we live together as well. So definitely, it's been a healing journey for the both of us at the same time. She's also, none of us are perfect. We're always trying to reinvent ourselves and figure ourselves out. So it's been a journey for the both of us, but I think we just met at the right time.
Was she kind of going through like a transition?
Yeah, she's kind of going through her own transition in life, professionalism, etc. I think we're all kind of searching for these same things, I think the biggest thing outside of professionalism that I've been searching lately is what my purpose is, And I think that's probably the biggest challenge you ever face in life.
Yeah.
I still don't know what that is. I'm still saying, I went on a missionary trip to Uganda back in February, which was an amazing experience. I cut hair out there. I was out there for 2 weeks.
Was that like you trying to find yourself kind of thing?
Partially, yeah. I've always dreamed of doing that. I'm 40, I'm 45, about to be 46 Wednesday. Right. And when we grew up, how old are you now?
39.
Yeah, so you probably remember the little African commercials, help this African kid. Right. So as a kid, I've always seen those commercials. And I've always wanted to go there and help. So it's always been like a dream of mine. But also it just happened to be the time where I'm kind of like transitioning into this new phase of who the hell am I, And that was a huge part of helping me. Trying to just figure a few things out.
Yeah, I feel like
I definitely came back with clarity more than anything else.
I was about to say, like, you just get some knowledge I was gonna talk to you about that, like, cause I've seen you travel a few times, and to different countries, and I'm like, damn, like, I feel like every time somebody comes back from a country, they gain knowledge.
Absolutely.
And for you, because you were in that transition period, it seemed like it was even like a bigger deal.
Absolutely. I think traveling to me is one of my favorite things to do. It definitely opens up your insight, especially coming from such a privileged country. You know, we use the word white privilege a lot here, but I think we all have American privilege, regardless of how you want to look at it. And when you travel, it just makes you realize, like, dang, I really do have it good here. You know, given a lot of stuff going on in America, but perfection, I realized after that trip, perfection is something that we're seeking here. I don't think it's a realistic goal. I think we have to just learn how to live amongst one another, amongst people and different ideas and ideologies. So it just gave me a lot of clarity. I appreciate where I live now, you know, like, and I love my Wi-Fi, the hot showers, just food that I can count on, you know. It was a
the
tough
little
experience.
details, right?
Man, for 2 weeks, I ate oatmeal, protein bars, and water.
Damn.
IV liquid.
Oh, you mean when you were over there?
While I was in Africa. I was scared to eat the meat. So I lost a little bit of weight, but it made me appreciate everything when I got back home, you know, down to the food. But it was a awesome experience for sure.
Because you weren't in the city, right? You were
we were in Bujiri, it's like the country. So we had a little apartment, but man, this place didn't have no hot water. Like it was tough living. And it wasn't as tough as like some people live out there, obviously, but I would consider that homeless living out here to us. Right. But not to them, you know, that's like high-end living where we did. I was like,
I feel like, you get a sense of peace when you experience those kind of things, right?
Absolutely.
And then you just like kind of want to search for that peace again.
Absolutely. I would love to do that for a living. It's just I haven't figured out a way how to financially sustain my life and do that at the same time. But it's something I'm definitely interested in.
Yeah, it's almost like you got to be a nomad.
Yeah, and I've never done that.
You don't have bills.
Yeah, I don't know how to not be materialistic. I'm learning that too. That's something I'm going through now, kind of transitioning out of being materialistic to just kind of living more nomad style.
Right, and like, I don't know, one of my friends, the way he travels is actually, there's a website, I forgot what it's called, but you can, people are looking for people to house sit.
Okay.
In different countries.
Shit. I'm gonna have to look that up.
So they pay you to house sit while you're sitting there.
Oh, that's dope.
He does that in Greece and
all
these places.
I've never heard of that. That's cool.
Yeah. You should look into that. But talk to me specifically about this African trip. Because I felt like that was a big change for you, even like just looking at it through social media. And it's almost like you gained a family down there almost?
Yeah, I still keep in touch with a few of them.
Yeah, right? So was it the behaviors that you saw that really made a difference? Because like when you cut their hair, like how excited they were or something like that.
Yeah, they were super excited when I did cut their hair. They just don't have the hygiene and the amenities that we have, so it was kind of hard cutting their hair. It was very dirty, and I didn't know where to wash it. So it was tough. It was a shock for me, but at the same time I wanted to give. I didn't want to say no. In America, we would never cut somebody's hair that's that dirty, you know. But it was just kind of a shock at first, and then I'm like, all right, look, I'm here to serve, so I just did what I did. But I think the biggest thing that shocked me was the poverty, man. I've just never seen that poverty.
Poverty.
I've never seen that level of poverty before. Like what we think America poor is just, it's not even close to what they go through out there.
Yeah.
So that probably shook me the most. And I also was working at an orphanage with I think they had like 600 orphan kids. Damn. And that also shocked me. You know, I've never seen that many kids bundled up in one building. And it wasn't a nice facility either, you know. So those things just kind of, man, it was emotional, very emotional trip. I cried a lot, you know, a lot of different emotions.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Probably one of the biggest moments that stood out was we had fed the neighborhood and we had a little bit left over with some kids that didn't get to eat, so we bring 8 little kids in, and man, they were just all gathered around this plate eating rice with their hands, like sharing. Yeah. And that's probably the moment that, like, man, that hurt just to watch. It made me cry, but it also made me feel good because they were sharing, they're not fighting, but it was just a sad moment, man. That's probably the moment.
Probably
that stuck
sad
out
for you, but they were probably excited.
Oh, they were
right?
super happy, you know, super happy, but it was just one of those moments where like, darn. That one hit hard. Right? Yeah, that hit hard for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Has that influenced anything when you came back?
I think it did influence. Like I said, it brought me back with a lot of clarity. When I came back is when I actually made the decision to switch my barbershop from Right Cut and partner with my other friend, Reggie Winston.
What was the
barbershop?
Why?
Well, I was, like I said, I was a little burned out, kind of tired of trying on my own. And I felt like it was time to, after that trip, I realized it's time to transition into something new, try something else, and that's what I did. So when I came back, I made a bunch of different decisions, cut off a few people that I had to get out the way, and transitioned to this new, the barbershop carry.
Gotcha.
So it definitely brought me a lot of clarity. And my dad passed away like 2 weeks after I got back, man. So it was like
oh, that's right.
Yeah, maybe like a week after I got back. It was like a weird month right there, man. Yeah, it was rough.
Yeah,
a rough emotional month.
Hell yeah.
Definitely got some therapy after that.
Yeah, that's tough, man, because you were already in a transition, then you go on this trip and come back, and then that happens.
Yeah.
And it's like going from high, it's like a roller coaster, highs to lows.
Yeah, it was very much. I remember my last day in Africa, I just remember crying like that night. I don't know what it was. It was just
Before coming back?
Yeah, just a bunch of different emotions. I missed home, but I didn't want to leave. I felt guilty that I didn't do enough, although I know I did a lot. It was all kind of emotions. Then I get back home, I jump right back into work, and then my dad passed. So it was just a crazy month right there emotionally.
Yeah, yeah.
But I got through it, and just kept fighting, man. Kind of went back to church a little bit. I'm not a super religious person, but I do believe I was raised that way.
Right.
So I kind of got back involved in church a little bit too. That kind of helped with my dad's passing a little bit. But I don't go every day. I don't go as much as I should or nothing like that. But but I'm going to kind of just. Church for me is kind of like therapy, free therapy. It's always a good word at least. Not necessarily. I don't know if I'm ever going to be a born again Christian or anything like that. But I do go for the word. It has been encouraging. Has helped me out a lot.
Yeah. Going through your dad's passing, is that something that, because you were already, were you transitioning businesses as well at the same time?
I was,
right? So even before that happened, right?
Yeah, I literally made a decision when I got back. So before I was kind of plotting what I'm going to do. Yeah. When I got back, I made the decision, and then in the midst of that, my dad passed. So.
Right. How was your is your mom and dad were still?
No, they were divorced. They both are remarried. So
okay, gotcha. So like growing up, at least, like did they have a big influence on you?
Yeah, of course. My mom probably is my bigger influence. My mom and dad got divorced when I was 16. So of course, when men and women get divorced, typically the man leave the house.
Right. Yeah.
So I kind of just lost that connection with my dad. He's still my dad, and of course it hurt when he passed, etc. But we just wasn't as close as we should have been.
Okay, gotcha.
Which makes it hard to hurt too deeply. Like if my mom passed, it's gonna be a different. That's gonna probably destroy me a little bit.
Right.
But my dad passed, it didn't destroy me. It did hurt. And it probably hurt more because there was just so many things left unsaid.
All right.
And that's
closures and
probably what I'm more upset about my dad about anything. It's just the lack of talking to me as a man. And going through therapy, I'm realizing how to express my emotions a little better. So that's probably one thing I regret that he didn't do.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like it was my place as a kid to do that. I feel like that was his place to say the right thing. So so with my kids, I definitely practice that, trying to make sure I say the right things to them or let them know that I'm emotionally thinking of the mistakes I made or how I may have hurt them in the past.
Yeah. Just let them in.
Right.
I think a lot of, especially Latino parents, they just they put a wall up so their kids don't have to worry about anything.
Absolutely. I think too, the generation prior to mine and mine, we grew up completely different. I think today we've learned new words, new vocabularies. We're a little more awake now due to more research and social media influence and things like that.
Yeah.
And we are just more aware today of our emotions, especially as men. I think more men are more aware.
Yeah.
But you still have that old generation, and they're teaching their kids. And my dad was military, and he's from the 70s, 80s, so completely different type of man, than today.
Right.
So there's nothing wrong with that. It's just I don't want to put that into my kids, though.
Yeah.
I want to make sure they understand it's okay to, especially my son, it's okay to talk and get things out. So.
Yeah, especially your son, right? Men in general,
right.
I feel like need to open up more, which is happening.
It is, I think so. Happening. I think there's definitely a shift going on, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Men are more feminine nowadays in the sense that we manicure ourselves a little better, you know. I never really got a manicure or pedicure until probably like 10 years ago.
Oh, there you go.
So definitely learning new things, man. Felt great too, by the way.
I mean, I was talking mentally, but if you want to talk like nails and stuff.
No, that manicure pedicure is great, man. I never experienced it, but
yeah.
So now we're just coming, more mentally. We're a little, they call us soft or whatever. I don't know, more feminine, whatever words they want to use. But I do think we're just more awake today. I don't think it's a feminine thing. I think we're just understanding how to be a better man.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, especially.
I grew up with women, so. I grew up with a mom and a sister that I love to death. I have a daughter, a niece, so it's like I've always been surrounded by women.
Gotcha.
So I kind of already had a domestic understanding of how to be, but my dad was a huge influence as well, you know, running off at the mouth and yelling and things like that, you know.
Right.
So just kind of learning how not to be that person. As far as my dad's presence, I've always yearned for that, you know, that male influence. As far as dominating, or the male domination side, not really. I think I learned in therapy not too long ago, actually. I have since I've been managing my own shop for so long, I kind of managed things around me. When I text you, I said, I don't mean to be managing you. The reason I said that is because I'm more aware of that today, right? So I don't know if it's male dominance or just the manager in me. I can't quite tell what the difference is, but I'm assuming it's probably a little bit more micromanaging in my life and people around me and things around me. But I think it comes from a good place. It's not I don't mean to come from a controlling place, but I've just been through a lot and I want to avoid going through more. So if me having to handle things is how to avoid that, that's what I've been doing. The problem is it does come across as controlling and micromanaging, especially in a relationship.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm trying to learn to tone that down a little bit. So again, I don't know if that's being a man, because that's what I was taught a man was, you know? Or am I just micromanaging the people around me?
Right.
So that's something I've been kind of trying to learn lately.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the fact that you're more self-aware.
Definitely more self-aware, and that's where it all starts.
And I think when it comes to relationships and controlling and stuff like that, when you catch yourself, I think it's about the communication, like communicating that to the other person.
Absolutely.
Hey, I just said this, you know, didn't mean to say
I'm still
like
working on all those things. Like I said, I haven't changed completely. You know, it's not like I'm a completely healed person, but it's just a whole process. Me and my fiance definitely have a much better open line of communication than I've ever had with anybody else. And I think that starts with me. You know, she's already doing her part, but I think I changed enough to be mature enough to accept what I do wrong and be able to express that within that. So I think most of that change has come from me personally.
Yeah.
I just seen a friend on Facebook recently talking about he's only gonna date a certain type of woman, and you know, I'm like, you're 50 years old almost, you know, at some point you gotta take accountability on who you are.
Yeah.
Because if I didn't change my ways, I wouldn't be in this non-toxic, happy relationship that I'm in.
Yeah.
You know, that's definitely a big part of me that I had to change.
Yeah, it's that self-awareness to have that.
Absolutely.
thought.
Man, we could be jerks sometimes, man. And amongst me and you, we wouldn't take that personal, but a woman is a little softer, a little more sensitive, and we gotta also learn how to deal with that side. Yeah. My daughter is different from my son. You know, I could talk to my son a certain way. I cannot talk to my daughter the same way. She's a little more sensitive.
Right.
So, man, we just got to understand that as well.
Yeah, I feel like there should be like a behavior class or
Absolutely.
something like that.
That'd be a great thing to put in school.
Hell yeah. I think I made a list of like all the
Mental health would be another great one. Combine the two. Yeah,
right,
sure,
exactly.
For sure.
So, how long you been in therapy right now?
I've been going about the last 3 years, but I've been through 3 therapists in 3 years. Yeah. So this last one here has been 7 months consistently with this guy, Dr. Rodney. He's been helping me out a lot, and that's probably the longest I've had one therapist.
Gotcha. Yeah. Have you?
So it's okay to fire a therapist. Don't feel bad.
yeah, that's
your
important,
money.
Right? They gotta fit, man.
Yeah, they did.
But from when you first started therapy to where you are now, huge difference, right?
There's a huge difference, but then there's also so much more to go, you know?
Yeah.
But there is a huge difference, absolutely. He even noticed that. I think our last session, I was wording something to him about what I felt that happened in, me and my partner went through something that day, and I'm having a conversation with him, and the way I expressed it, he said, you know, the way you just expressed that is crazy how much you've grown to be able to express what you're feeling. I worded it like perfectly for him, you know? Yeah. So it helps him understand me better too.
Right.
So yeah, it's a big part of how to word things the right way so people can understand what you're saying, what you're feeling exactly. Sometimes the men were just angry and we're saying things, but it's not really what we feel.
Yeah.
It's not really the underlying issue. You know?
Right.
And that's what I've been working on.
Yeah, I think that's a big one right there. What's the root of the issue?
Right.
I catch myself doing that recently. It's like I say things and I'm like, I'm not really mad at her.
Yeah.
You know, it's because of me. And
but
I'm doing this.
Something I learned is that we do what we're trained to do. You know, we've trained ourselves for 40 years how to be a certain way, and sometimes people's defenses, arguing or yelling or fighting, you know, and it's just a self-defense mechanism that we gotta kind of break down and catch ourselves in.
Yeah.
So it's definitely something I've learned. I like to tell a lot of jokes. Like even in a bad moment, I like to play around, and I'm learning to kind of tone that down. Yeah, tone it down a little bit. You know?
Yeah. That's funny, man. So the barbershop, you partnered up with somebody, right? So that transition, how was that transition? Was it hard? Was it difficult?
You know, probably the hardest part was, I guess, just letting go of the ego of, I've always had my own business, you know what I mean? I've never had a partner. I think that was probably the hardest thing, but it wasn't that hard of a transition because at that point I was also kind of ready for some help.
Yeah.
So it kind of worked out perfectly.
Is it the little details of like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, but luckily I got a good partner who he doesn't really micromanage either. You know, he has his own style, I have mine. So it's worked out smoothly, honestly. You know, it's business though. So even though with the merger, things are still kind of not exactly where I need them to be. But I'm happy with what I've done so far.
Yeah. Well, what do you see as like, okay, I'm happy with?
Well, I love his style. He has a bigger vision. When I bought my shop, man, I was just happy to have a business. You know, it was my first business ever. I didn't really have a bigger vision at that time. But joining him, he has a bigger vision. He already has 3 barbershops. We have a Cary location, Raleigh, Wake Forest, and he's opening one downtown on Fayetteville Street soon.
Oh, sure.
So yeah, it's just a bigger vision, you know, and I'm excited to see where this goes. I've never had that around me. My entire career, I've always just had people around me, but no vision, no visionary people around me. So it's my first time dealing with somebody who has a vision. It's fun.
It's fun.
It's a good place to be.
You taking it well?
I'm learning.
That's a big step, man.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
it's scary, you know, because sometimes I don't even feel like I'm adequate on his level. You know, although I know I am, it's like it's new. So it's like, wow.
Yeah. Do you guys?
I step my game up.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, like, I changed my life at 24, and I started looking at my life and like the law of attraction and stuff like that. And that's one of the things is, how big do you want to dream?
Yeah, absolutely.
And they always say, like, if you get scared about your dream, you're in the right place.
Absolutely.
And stuff like that. But it seems like you're now starting to get into it. Right?
Yeah.
How's that been for you? That change?
It's been a transition, a little scary at times. I'm still not sure of myself or what I'm doing at times, but I'm certain I want to do something. I'm certain I want to change, and I'm certain I want to grow. So with that certainty, I'm just kind of moving forward with that alone, kind of faith that things will work out as always. You know, I've always been a man of faith and just kind of keep moving forward. Things always work out. Yeah. I've been in a ton of different situations and I've gotten myself out of every single one, you know, so we'll see where this goes, man.
Yeah, man, I like it. Speaking about goals, did you ever have goals growing up or anything like that?
Not really, man. I'm kind of like your average knucklehead, man. Like I really didn't have anything planned, just things just kind of started happening. As I look back, I'm getting older now, so obviously looking back, I wish I would have did a ton of things different, you know, set those goals at a young age, write these things down, actually achieve one by one. But no, not really. I never really had any certain goals. Things just kind of came together, man.
Yeah, I think when you start to change your life into a better direction, more visionary and all that
That's
stuff.
when those goals really start coming out of you, yeah.
And then you have this kind of thing where it's like you're trying to play catch up.
Right.
Because you haven't done it in the past.
Right. Now I'm learning all kind of new tactics that I probably should have been trying when I was young. You know?
Right. But that could also create some impatience.
Absolutely.
As well.
Absolutely. I'm dealing with heavy impatience as I'm getting older, man. I don't like people as much anymore. Just kind of dealing with a lot of people, you know. And I've always been a people person, but I've really reduced myself to just being in the house and working and not being around too many people. And it's been super helpful for me. I didn't realize how drained I was being by all these people around me, you know. different kind of energies, etc. So tons of things that I may be learning at a later age, but at least I'm learning finally at some point and growing in a new direction.
Yeah.
So, you know, don't be scared to change, and you're not wasting your time, just learning, you know. So it was all a lesson I had. If I didn't go through those things, I wouldn't have the clarity I have today.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, sometimes some take longer than others, you know.
Sure. Yeah. But it seems like you always make it a point to travel, though, right?
I've always loved traveling, man. I'm from Puerto Rico, moved here when I was 5 years old, lived in Hawaii.
You lived in Hawaii?
6 years out there with my dad in the military. So I've always been a traveling kid, man. So I always enjoy traveling.
What's your favorite place to go to? That you traveled to?
Out of everywhere I traveled, man, I really love Costa Rica.
Really?
Thailand was dope. And Brazil the recent Brazil trip was really dope.
Yeah.
Africa was dope, but it was an experience. It wasn't like the safari that I was imagining. You know, I didn't do any safari.
It wasn't like a vacation.
Yeah, I didn't see no lions and tigers, none of that. Yeah. So it was probably the dopest experience I've ever had, though, was Uganda. Yeah. But if I had to pick one certain place, that's tough. Yeah, definitely tough. I'll probably say Costa Rica.
Costa Rica?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a
lot of people say Costa Rica. What is it about Costa Rica?
It's just so natural and just naturey and just beautiful, man. It's very untouched. They got monkeys, so like, you know, once I see a monkey, I'm happy.
Yeah. That's funny. So talk to me about this Brazil trip. What inspired that?
So the Brazil trip was a bachelor party / birthday party. My birthday is the 25th, this coming up Wednesday. Nice. And it was a bachelor party kind of squeezed in all together. 2 of my other friends, it was their birthdays as well. So like a group of 10 of us, 12 of us went out there. Damn. It was an awesome time, man. We went to a soccer game. Brazil's huge in soccer, so they got a team called Flamengo. And we went to a game there, dude. It was intense.
Nice.
Like M80s going off everywhere.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Damn. It was like scary but fun at the same time. Yeah.
Right. That's funny.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's good, man. Did you explore the countryside?
I didn't go in the country. We kind of stayed in Rio, Copacabana area. Okay. We did go to the soccer game. I did do the Jesus, or the Christ Redeemer statue.
Yeah.
That was pretty dope.
Like you went on it?
Yeah, well, I went all the way up to the top. It's probably a little smaller than the Statue of Liberty.
Damn.
But on top of a mountain, so it was tough, man. I can't breathe really good up there, and I just came out from partying the night before, so it was tough. But it was a dope experience. Beautiful, beautiful place.
Yeah, that's cool, man. I guess you're not scared to go to a country, right? You're like the language barrier doesn't scare you or anything like that.
I think we all have a little fear, you know. Like going to Brazil, I was a little worried about being robbed. You just hear so many stories. But one thing I noticed in traveling, most people that tell you be careful somewhere have never been. It's an experience they heard from a third party, or on TV. Yeah. I've never been in any harm's way anywhere I've been, not once. But I have been scared 100% every time I go somewhere. Yeah. Uganda, when I went, we had to get yellow fever shot, typhoid shot. That alone scared me, like, what the hell they got on out here, you know? So I was scared to eat the food, like I said, I was just worried. But I've never been in harm's way, thank God, man. So that's protected me, I guess.
Yeah,
I haven't had no bad experiences.
You gotta go to the Amazon, Joe.
I definitely want to go, but I need a tour guide for that one.
Yeah.
That sounds...
Well, if you want to go to, there's this place in 10 hours from Peru, Lima, to be exact. Okay. And you take a bus 10 hours into the Amazon.
I bet. I did Peru, I did Machu Picchu, and
that
was actually a dope experience too, but now that I did all these other ones, it was kind of not as good as these other ones.
Right.
But Machu Picchu was dope. Peru's a beautiful place. I didn't realize how big it was.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, because I went to Lima, Cusco, and I did the desert, Huacachina. And I mean, it's 3 different type of terrains there. I ain't even get to the Amazon yet, you know?
Right, yeah.
So it was dope. Peru's a beautiful place, great food.
I didn't want to leave.
I ate some guinea pig, man.
Yeah, me too.
Ugh.
In the Amazon.
Never again.
You didn't like it?
I tried it, though.
Yeah, try it. That's what counts.
I want to stick to the ceviche.
There you go. Yeah, if you ever want a place in the Amazon, Villarrica is where I went. Okay. It's in Amazon. Supposedly they have the best coffee in the world.
Dope.
And they're trying to get more tourists in there, I guess you say. But I got a friend in there.
Got tour guide and all that?
Yep, tour guide. He cooks for you. All home cooked instead of the restaurants there are still a little bit sometimes questionable depending on what you get.
Right.
But definitely better.
So it's like a really small population there, like of people.
Yeah, small population for sure. Absolutely.
I like stuff like that. The older I get, the more I yearn for that type of experience versus going out partying all night or.
Right, and it's peaceful out there. Yeah. I saw like 5 UFOs when I was out there.
Oh wow.
It was dope.
That was dope. And Peru definitely got some activity.
Hell yeah.
I was supposed to go to the, where the aliens left the signs on the ground out there, but I didn't get to make it. The weather was kind of bad. So.
Yeah, that was.
Those helicopters looked a little shaky anyway, though, so I'm glad I didn't go.
Yeah. I want to skydive there.
Dude, I did that right around my transition, bro, about 2 years ago, maybe about 3 years ago.
Where'd you do
skydiving
that?
in Lewisburg.
Okay, yeah,
it's an experience.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna do it again though.
No, you don't want to do it again?
Nah.
You gotta live life, man.
One time was enough for me. I did it. I'm done. I jumped off of Miraflores too in Lima, the cliff over the highway.
Really?
Yeah, that was. So I'm done.
Oh yeah, I've done that.
It's like parasailing or something.
Yeah, parasailing. Yeah,
scary as crap.
I didn't get to jump off, but I did the machine one.
Okay.
Yeah. But that's dope too.
Definitely. So I'm done with those adventures.
Yeah. I feel like when I skydived, it was like me trying to shake up my life.
Oh, you already done it?
I've done it twice.
Okay. Oh yeah, so you crazy. I'm good with one. It is beautiful though.
It is. But it's also like, I don't know. For me, it's like restarting my life.
Okay.
Almost, because like you get into these patterns in life, and you want to shake things up, or you feel like you're not going anywhere.
Definitely shake you up.
Yeah. So like.
I remember the jump for me was like the climb up and getting to the door was the hardest part. But once I jumped, it was just like, I don't know. I felt free. I don't know how to explain it.
It's blissful, man.
Yeah. It's super loud at first, and then when they pull that shoe, it's probably the most peaceful noise. There's no noise.
Yeah.
The most peaceful thing I ever heard.
Yeah. That's what he keeps telling people too. It's like the most blissful moment you'll ever have.
I remember when we was up there, he was like, "You want to spin a little?" So you could pull one side. I was like, "Yeah, go for it." Man, I forgot I can't handle that. So I got about the last 5 minutes, I'm queasy, like trying not to throw up from the spinning. And when we hit that ground, it was like all the fear came back. Like, what the crap did I just do? Right. But it was a dope experience. I do recommend everybody trying it.
Yeah.
But maybe once, just once.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. At least once.
At least once.
But one thing I think I'll never do is bungee jump.
Yeah, I'll never do that. No, I'm not doing that.
Too risky.
Yeah, that's way too risky. Way too risky.
Well, damn, dude. So how you feeling now?
I'm feeling good.
All these years of barbershopping, barber cutting.
Entrepreneurship, yeah, man.
All that.
I feel good, man. I'm in a good space right now. I'm happy to see what the future brings. Again, I'm still scared just like everybody else, just kind of taking it day by day.
Yeah.
Learning every day new things about myself, even at the age of 45, so it's something that never goes away. Don't be afraid of that part of yourself. Keep learning, keep growing.
Yeah, I think that's
everything will work out.
I think that's definitely important to note, is that no matter how high you are, you'll always
got to
reinvent yourself.
To go up. Absolutely, because you always got to reinvent yourself. So every 10 years is just something new, And nobody wants to be doing the same thing for the next 30, 40 years,
Right.
I don't mind cutting hair for the rest of my life, but I also want to do other things,
Yeah. There's more to you than that.
Right. So
I
don't be afraid of yourself, that part of yourself. Don't be afraid.
Right. Yeah. I appreciate you being here, man.
My man, good to see you always, brother.
Absolutely. Do you want to tell people where they can find your barbershop?
Man, we have 3 locations. One's in Cary, Raleigh, Wake Forest. We're opening another location downtown on Fayetteville Street in Raleigh. It's called the Bar-Ber-Shop. Separate each word, the Bar-Ber-Shop. He has a bar inside of each one. So it's a beautiful location, man.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Is there a bar inside the one?
No, they wouldn't allow us to do that one. So it's just kind of a remote location. We're just trying to spread the word. Eventually, we're going to move out of that location into a bigger location in Cary, and hopefully at that spot we could do that. So for now, we're just kind of building the Cary clientele list at this location.
I'm looking forward to the growth, man.
Yeah, man. Good to see you, man. Always. My man. Good to see you, brother.
Yeah,
Be safe.
You too, man.